All right, buddy. Daryl, time to answer your question. Well, first of all, there are no references of Prophet Muhammad beheading hundreds of people and torturing them for money. In fact, we've got references where we have been instructed by the Prophet Muhammad that what are the rules and regulations of war and what are the rules and regulations of treating the slaves from the war, or basically the captives of the war. First of all, during a war, we are not supposed to harm a woman, a child, an elderly, or an unarmed, or people who are hiding inside their houses. We are not supposed to harm them. People who are hiding in their worship places, we are not supposed to harm them. And these references are easily available in any of the books, or you can actually watch the movie The Message, and that is also explained. Secondly, how to treat the war captives. That is also very clearly explained in all the books. We are not supposed to torture them. We are not supposed to keep them in a discomfort place, a smelly place, or a dirty place. We are supposed to keep them in a nice, clean place. We are supposed to provide them with nice food, and we are not supposed to hurt them in any ways, either emotionally or physically or mentally. That's cleared over there. Secondly, there are some references. This guy is quoting about Quran, and he is quoting about chapter number 5, verse number 32, that he says that killing a person is equivalent to killing the whole of the humanity, and sparing one's life is equivalent to sparing the life of the whole of the humanity. Then he goes to the context of the verse. He says that it is being said to the Jews only, whereas that's not correct. The words being used over there is Bani Israel, and Israel was basically the other name of the prophet named, we call it Yaqub, Christians call it, or people with the language of English, they call it Jacob. And we all know, Christians know, Jews know that Jacob was one of the fathers of Prophet Abraham. Then came Isaac. Then came Ishmael. Then there were Prophet Jacob, and below that was Bani Israel, basically the children of Israel, children of Jacob. And from that children of Jacob came Prophet Moses and Prophet Isa, Prophet Christ. And that explains that this verse is not only to not only to Jews, it is also for Christians. And because it is in Quran, that means it is equivalently important for people who are reading Quran and believing in Quran. So basically it's for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. So it's not correct that if the person says that it's only for the Jews. Bani Israel, which is in the modern world, the country called as Israel, and mostly Jews, but Israel was basically the second name of Jacob, and from the children of Jacob were Prophet Isa, Christ, and Prophet Moses, Musa. And due to it's been said to Prophet Muhammad, and it's in Quran, so it is also equal to the Muslims. So that's not correct, one thing. Secondly, if you go a few sentences, a few verses behind that verse, there's a tale of Prophet Adam, the first prophet, the first human being in this world, and his children. He had 2 sons, and one of the sons murdered the other son. And when he murdered the other son, after that, I'll explain to you which verse was saying that when the prophet okay, so chapter 5 verse number 31 explains that one of the brothers killed the other brother, and chapter 5 verse 32, which he's quoting, it starts with saying that because of that incident, that one brother murdered the other brother, it is said to all Bani Israel and the people who are reading Quran and the Prophet and the people who are following Prophet Muhammad, that if you kill a person, you're basically killing the whole of the humanity. And if you are not killing a person, if you're saving one's life, you are sparing the life of all the humanity. That's one part. Secondly is that in the same surah, in the same chapter, oh yeah, this guy goes on, secondly is that this verse is for Jews and the next verse is for the Muslims. The next verse he quotes as in like the person who doesn't believe in God and doesn't believe in the Prophet Muhammad should be killed and crucified. Wrong, buddy, wrong. The words of the Quran over here are, indeed, the penalty for those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger. Who wage war against Allah and His Messenger. And for your and everyone's kind information, we being Muslims, we don't only believe in Prophet Muhammad. We believe in all the messengers, including Moses, including Jesus, including Jacob, including Isaac, including Ishmael, including Abraham, and the ones before that, including Prophet Adam. So when this verse says that people who wage war against Allah and His Messenger are basically people who are against Muhammad, Musa, Moses, Jesus, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and all of them, then okay, it's not only over there. The people who wage war against Allah and His Messenger and strive upon earth corruption. Basically, strive upon earth to cause corruption is none but that they be killed and crucified. So basically, people who wage war against Allah and His messengers and strive upon earth to cause corruption, basically they are causing corruption on the earth, then you kill them and you crucify them. It's not that people who just don't believe on Prophet Muhammad and Allah and so you just go and crucify them and kill them. No, it's basically people who wage war against Allah and His Messenger and strive upon earth to cause corruption, then you go and kill them. You just don't, just don't simply just start killing non-Muslims. No, that's not true. And in the next verse after that, which is chapter 5 verse number 33, except those who return to you, forgive them and know that Allah is all forgiving and merciful. Mind you, this is the same thing in the same chapter, and this is the next two verses which he quoted. The first one says that if you kill a person, you kill all of a humanity, and if you spare a life of a person, you spare the whole of the humanity. That's what he's saying. That's for only of the Jews, but that's not only for Jews. That's for everyone who believes in God and His messengers. The verse after that, this chapter 5 verse number 33, is that the people who wage war against Allah and His Messenger and cause corruption on the earth, the penalty for them is to be killed and crucified. And the third verse after that says, but the people who repent and return to you, spare them, because Allah is forgiving and merciful. I don't know why this guy is quoting the verses wrongly, but this is what the verses say. Okay, then he says that Prophet Muhammad was in Mecca. He had only around about 100 or 150 followers over the period of 13 years. Okay, now during that 13-year process, he didn't mention how many Muslims who started believing in Prophet Muhammad were killed, how many were of them tortured, and he didn't mention any of those. And mind you that those tortures and killings were done by the Christians, by the pagans, by the Jews who were actually against Prophet Muhammad. They killed, they tortured, they raped many of the Muslims during Prophet Muhammad was in Mecca, and they were brutally murdered, killed, and raped and tortured. Then Prophet Muhammad was instructed by God to leave this place and go to Medina. Mind you again that there was an attack on his life on the day when he was moving from Mecca to Medina. Okay, when he moved to Medina. Okay, yeah. Then next thing is that this guy is quoting chapter 9, which he says to be the most violent chapter in the whole of the Quran. First of all, let me tell you something, that chapter 9 is called as the chapter of repentance. That chapter, I don't know when it was compiled, because the whole Quran was revealed at different times, at different portions were revealed in different times. It was not that the starting of the Quran was revealed in the beginning of the time of the Prophet Muhammad, and the last of the Quran was revealed at the end of the time of the Prophet Muhammad. No, many of the portions that came that are compiled to be at the end of the Quran were the first few. Like, for example, chapter, I don't remember the chapter number, but it's one of the last few chapters of the Quran. That was the first few verses of that chapter was the first few verses that were revealed to Prophet Muhammad in the cave when he was sitting over there by Gabriel. And that chapter 9, that was revealed in different places in different times, but the most of the portion which he is referring to is the chapter that is referring to killing the non-Muslims and attacking them. And yeah, okay, that is written over there, but what is the context? He was referring to the context of one verse. He didn't refer to the context of this whole chapter. The context for this chapter is, when Prophet Muhammad was in Medina, he was going to Mecca for pilgrimage, and he was with his followers, but they didn't have any weapons because they were going for pilgrimage. They were going for a peaceful trip, and the people from Mecca, they stopped them over there. They say, sorry, you can't enter. You will either fight with us or you will go back. And Prophet Muhammad said, no, this will not happen. We are not going to fight with you. That place where they were staying was called as Hudaybiyah, and it is very well known fact that Hudaybiyah Pact was a very well documented event in the history of Islam. That the Pact of Hudaybiyah was that both people from Medina and Mecca, including Prophet Muhammad and his followers, they sat down and they signed a peace treaty. Now the peace treaty was that, well, there were many points in that one, but one of the it was mostly against Muslims and in the favor of the non-Muslims. And people of Islam at that time, were the one who were following Prophet Muhammad. They were really worried that what is our Prophet doing? That how is he agreeing to such kind of terms? That, you know, for example, that if someone in Mecca accepts Islam, he will not be allowed to go to Medina to Prophet Muhammad. But if there is someone in Medina who is a non-Muslim and he wants to go to Mecca, he will be allowed freely to go to Mecca. Now this kind of treaty seems quite much against Prophet Muhammad and Islam, but Prophet Muhammad agreed just because it was a peace treaty, and he agreed upon that. And for a while there were no wars, no fights between the Meccans and the Medinans against this because of this peace treaty. What Muslims did is that they used this peace treaty and they started spreading the word of Islam and teachings of Islam, and they started convincing people to accept Islam in a very peaceful way, of course, because there was a peace treaty. They're not allowed to fight. They're not allowed to engage in any kind of wars, or what he was saying, that by sword. So many of the people started accepting Islam. Now these people, these pagans in Mecca, they started getting angry that these people are basically using this peace treaty and they are spreading the word of Islam. So they started creating small trouble in different places, and like hurting some people or killing some Muslims and stuff like that. They started breaking the peace treaty. Now when that happened, chapter 9 is very clearly stating that those who have broken the treaty, I cannot find the exact verse right now, but it is in the first few verses of the chapter 9. Those who have broken the treaty, kill them, find them and kill them and hurt them. Okay, fine, acceptable. But let me show you. Okay, verse number 3, 4. Verse number 5. Okay, so here's verse number 5, 6. Okay, so if they break that, and so the ones who broke the peace treaty, if you then you find them and you kill them, and if any one of the non-Muslims seek your protection, then grant them protection, so that he may hear the words of Allah. Then deliver him to the place of safety, that is because they are a people who do not know. Clearly stating over there, okay, the ones who broke the treaty, the ones who are killing your people, you go and kill their people. Big deal. But the ones who are not doing that, the ones who seek your protection, you give them protection. And this is very clearly mentioned over here in chapter number 9, verse number 6. And then verse number 7 says, how can there be a peace treaty in the sight of Allah and His Messenger, except for those whom you made a treaty in the Masjid al-Haram? So as long as they upright towards you, be upright towards them. Indeed, Allah loves the righteous. Clearly stating over there, the ones who broke the treaty, you go and kill them too, because they are killing your people. The ones who didn't break the treaty, you give them protection. And there were people in Medina who were Jews, who were Christians, who were actually in the peace treaty with the Muslims over there. They did not accept the Prophet, but they were living in the same city and they were living among them, and they accepted them as that, okay, fine, you can live yours and we can live ours, and we will not fight with each other. So these are the people who are mentioned, that the ones who didn't break the treaty with you, you are not supposed to kill them or beat them or hurt them in any ways. So it's not what he's saying that chapter 9 is the most violent one and they are supposed to kill and hurt the non-Muslims. No, there were non-Muslims in Medina who were living with them, who were Jews and Christians, and they didn't hurt them. They did not hurt them because they were in a peace treaty with each other and they did not break the peace treaty. What else? Chapter 9 is explained clearly. Yeah, about the wars after Medina and invasions and killing of the non-Muslims. When Prophet Muhammad was given the kingdom of Medina, of the whole city, which was the first invasion after that? Which was the one? The first invasion was the conquering of Mecca. And it is a world record. No other invasion has been like that. Not even a single person was hurt. Not even a single person was killed. Not even a single drop of blood was shed during that invasion. Prophet Muhammad and his companions entered the city of Mecca, and the announcements were made. People who are in their houses, they're safe. People who are in the black building, the Kaaba, they're safe. People who are unarmed, they're safe. Children are safe. Women are safe. Elderly are safe. They are all safe, and no one was killed, no one was hurt. These things you can easily search and find on your own on Google. You don't need any scholar to tell that, but this is in the part of history that the first conqueror and the first conquer of the city was Mecca, and not even a single bloodshed was done. After that, later on, Prophet Muhammad sent letters to different kingdoms, different places, different people, different leaders of different kingdoms, and we all know that in the kingdom of Pharaohs, the kingdom of Rome, the kingdom of Persia, they were all very brutal. We know them by the movies 300 and Gladiators and blah blah blah. There are many movies who show bloodshed and cruelty going all over the places, and people fighting, human beings are being fought like animals, and they bet on them, and basically killing human beings was a sport at that time. And Prophet Muhammad sent them letters for peace. He sent them letters for peace. He did not say that you accept Islam or we are going to rage upon you with our army. No, he did not say that. I'll explain you with an example. A letter of Prophet Muhammad, which is available in Wikipedia, to the ruler of Egypt. It phrases something like that: in the name of God, the Rahman, the Merciful, from the Apostle of Allah to the Muqawqis, I think that was the name of the chief of Egypt, chief of Copt, I don't know what is Copt. Peace be upon him who follows the guidance. Next, I summon thee with the appeal of establish peace. And establish peace, and you will have peace. These are the words of Prophet Muhammad, that please establish peace in your country and you will have peace. But if you don't establish peace in your country, then we will have to come to you and establish peace. He's not saying that accept Islam and otherwise we'll come and kill you. No, he's just saying that be peaceful with your people. Be peaceful with your people, and basically he's just saying that just be peaceful with your people, and be in alliance with us. That's all he's saying. He's the ruler of a country, and he is calling another country for an alliance, for friendship, and all in return he asks is that I want peace for your people in your country. That's all he's saying. And we all know Egypt, where the pharaohs were, from the story of Moses, we all know that he was one of the most cruel kings in the history. He used to kill children. I mean, like the worst of the worst. Like killing people is like way, way bad, but killing children is like the devil himself. And that was from Egypt. And the pharaohs were from Egypt. And Prophet Muhammad is sending letter to those and to that king, saying that please establish peace in your country. That's all he's saying. I mean, I don't see any violence over here, or saying that accept Islam or otherwise we'll charge on you. It doesn't say anything like that. So what he is phrasing, that guy Nabeel Quraishi, I seriously feel bad for him that he is doing such a thing for I don't know what causes, but he is phrasing Quran and Hadith and the history of the Islam, but he is portraying them in a very different, in a very bad way, just cherry plucking things up, saying that see this is what your Quran says, or see this is what your Prophet did. But what about the context? What about the whole of the history? Mind you that our religion, Islam, is not only Prophet Muhammad and the ones after that. No. Our center, our religion's center is Kaaba, Mecca. That was built by Abraham. That wasn't built by Prophet Muhammad. Right next to Kaaba, there are two mountains called Safa and Marwa. And the wife of Prophet Abraham ran between those two mountains, and we have to run between those two mountains every time we go to Mecca, just to establish the same, and just to remember that thing that happened between Prophet Abraham and his wife and his child, that she was running between those mountains to look for water and food. There was nothing over there at that time. She was looking for food and water for her child, who was Isaac. Prophet Isaac, Ishaq, we call him Ishaq, in the Prophet Isaac. He was just a baby, and when he hit his heels on the ground, from there the water came out, and that is the Zamzam which we drink from Makkah. That history is not from Prophet Muhammad. That history is from the fathers of Prophet Moses and Christ. It's not that we don't believe in Jesus Christ or we don't believe in Prophet Moses. We love them equally. We love them. We love Prophet Abraham. We love Prophet Jacob. We love Prophet Isaac. We love all of them. And we are supposed to love them more than our parents. It's not that Prophet Muhammad is just one person who just rose up and he was like, okay, start killing people and start killing that people. Islam is a religion of peace. When we talk to each other, when we meet each other, the first thing we say is Assalamu alaikum. That means peace be upon you. And it's not like we don't say it to we don't say it to non-Muslims. We say it to non-Muslims too. Peace be upon you. I hope that answers your question.